It is a fact. Your brain is most suggestible during the first 7 minutes after waking and the last 7 minutes before falling asleep. Do you want to know how to hijack your subconscious in just 3 minutes and turn it into a tool for absolute dominance?
Right now, I am going to give you the protocol used by the few to control the millions. Let's begin.
During these 14 minutes a day, your brain operates without a password. It is an open operating system. In neurobiology, this is the theta wave phase, a direct recording mode into the subconscious, bypassing the filters of logic and criticism. When you grab your phone immediately after waking up, you are inserting a foreign flash drive with viruses into your processor.
You aren't checking the mail. You are allowing algorithms to hardwire their goals into your neural code. You begin the day not as a player, but as a tool. Theta waves are the bridge between your conscious and subconscious mind. In this state, your critical filter is biologically offline. If the first thing you see is someone else's success or bad news, your brain doesn't analyze it, it absorbs it. You are literally programming your limbic system for anxiety or envy before you even wash your face. Machiavelli knew, he who is blinded at the start of the journey will never reach the goal. Your phone in the morning is a blinding flash. How do you protect this gateway? You need an exclusion zone. Your smartphone must be at least 3 meters away from your bed. Better yet, in another room.
Your first contact with the world must be physical, not digital. You are giving your prefrontal cortex time to wake up and post a guard. When you finally pick up that phone 30 minutes later, your filters will be working, and someone else's lies won't penetrate your subconscious code. Think about how often you feel exhausted just 1 hour after waking up. They call this morning cognitive overload. This happens because you overloaded your brain with hundreds of microsignals from social media feeds at its most fragile moment. You wasted your golden reserve of attention on trash. A real player guards this reserve to use it against competitors, not to flush it down the screen. Social media algorithms are engineered to create addiction. When you open them in the theta phase, you create a neural link. Waking up, dopamine, phone. You are training yourself to be a follower. Machiavelli emphasized that a prince must create the reasons for his people's joy himself, not wait for them to happen by chance. Addiction to the morning screen is a voluntary surrender to chance. During these 7 minutes, you must look at your mind as a blank slate. Instead of absorbing someone else's noise, create your own. One clear image of your goal, uploaded into your brain during the theta wave state, is worth an entire month of conscious effort. You leave your house with a pre-installed program for victory. People around you will sense your strange confidence because your internal code is clean, free from social viruses. Machiavelli knew fortresses are surrendered from within when the guards are asleep. Your critical mind is that guard. In the morning, it hasn't started its shift. In the evening, it has already left. Those who control your input during these minutes own your reactions for the entire next day. If you fall asleep to a blogger's voice or a news feed, you fall asleep as a slave to someone else's agenda. Solitude in these windows is the only way to preserve the sovereignty of your mind. In politics, Machiavelli advised seizing power in moments of confusion. In your brain, this confusion happens twice a day. When you scroll through your feed before bed, you allow foreign values, fears, and ideologies to occupy the vacant spaces in your subconscious. In the morning, you wake up and think these are your own thoughts.
They are not. They are the thoughts of those who managed to slip through the gates while your guard logic and critical thinking was asleep. The one who owns your morning owns your vector. The one who owns your evening owns your sleep. How do you check if your fortress has already been captured? Recall your very first thought this morning. Was it related to your project, your shadow, or your goals? If your first thought was, "What did they write in the chat?" or "How is that blogger doing?" your fortress has fallen. Admitting occupation is the first step toward liberation. From this moment on, you declare martial law. No external information until the guard is back on duty. In the United States, they call this cognitive hijacking. You go in just to check the time, and 40 minutes later, you find yourself watching short videos. This is not an accident. This is an algorithmic siege. Your brain at that moment is incapable of resisting. It absorbs everything. A Machiavellian player knows, to avoid losing the battle for the mind, you simply do not show up on the battlefield controlled by the enemy. Machiavelli emphasized that a prince must have his own advisors and not listen to flatterers. Your only true advisors are your logic and your shadow. During the windows of suggestibility, you must listen to them alone. Any other voice at this time is the voice of a manipulator trying to rewrite your strategy for their own interests. True power begins where outside influence ends. The 90 minutes of isolation we talked about earlier start with these 7 minutes of morning sovereignty. Look at your phone during these minutes not as a means of communication, but as a loaded weapon pointed at your temple. Prepare a silence list the night before. These are the thoughts and tasks you permit yourself to think about in the morning. You appoint the guard yourself. You decide who enters your fortress. You stop being a slave to the agenda and become the one who creates it. That first click in the morning is a death sentence for your will. By consuming a dose of cheap dopamine from your feed, you castrate your ability for long-term concentration. Your brain becomes conditioned to receive a reward for trash. By 10 o'clock in the morning, you are already mentally exhausted, even though you've done nothing. You become easy prey for any manipulator because your ability to say no atrophies along with your attention. Dopamine is the fuel for achieving goals. When you burn it in those first 7 minutes on mindless scrolling, you empty your tank before you've even started the engine. In neurobiology, this state is called dopamine burnout. Your sensitivity threshold skyrockets. Now, real work feels unbearably boring to your brain because it doesn't provide those quick, easy flashes like a smartphone screen. You aren't just entertaining yourself, you are breaking your motivation mechanism. Machiavelli knew, he who is accustomed to easy victories fails before a real challenge. How do you regain control over your will? You need to train your refusal muscle. When your hand instinctively reaches for the phone during those 7 minutes, stop it. Look at that urge as an external parasite. Wait exactly 2 minutes, simply observing that itch. In that moment, you intercept control from the limbic system. You prove to your brain that you are the one in charge here, not the algorithm. This is the beginning of the return of your power. Recall that feeling at 11 in the morning. You've had your coffee, checked your mail, Scrolled the feed, but you have no strength to start your main project.
It is a direct consequence of dopamine castration. Your brain has already received its daily dose of pleasure from trash and is now going into sleep mode. You are an easy target for any moral judge because you have no psychic energy left to defend your boundaries. Machiavelli emphasized that weak people are the easiest to rule. The modern system makes you weak through an excess of cheap pleasures. If you cannot control your own thumb on a smartphone screen at 7 a.m., how do you plan to control your life or bend others to your will? Your addiction is your collar. The one who owns their attention owns the world. The one who gives it away for free is just a resource for someone else's enrichment. When you refuse that morning dopamine, a hunger appears in your eyes, and it is the right kind of hunger. Use the energy of this unsatisfied dopamine for your first powerful surge in business. Direct this itch into work, not entertainment. By lunchtime, you will accomplish more than others do in a week. You will keep your will sharp as a razor. While others castrate themselves with the news feed, you are sharpening your intellect to seize new territories. To hijack control, you need 3 minutes of active hacking. This is not a relaxation meditation. It is a system reflash while it is still in boot mode. In these minutes, you are the programmer and your brain is the executor. Minute 1. Sensory vacuum. No phone, no screen light. You must realize yourself in an empty space. In neurobiology, this is the phase of resetting external stimuli. You are forcing your neurons to stop waiting for a command from the outside. You are creating a clean zone. If there is noise in your head, simply observe it without getting involved. You must feel the boundaries of your body, not the boundaries of your social media feed. Minute 2. The installation. Your shadow must receive a clear vector. Ask yourself, what resource will I take today? This could be status, money, influence, or control over a situation. Your shadow does not understand abstractions like happiness. It understands concrete prey.
Machiavelli knew the end justifies the means. The end justifies the means. Formulate your goal so that it triggers an instinctive excitement. In the theta wave phase, this goal falls directly into the subcortex, bypassing fears and social prohibitions. Minute 3. Imprinting. State the goal as an accomplished fact. Not, I want to earn, but I own the resource. In theta mode, the brain does not distinguish fantasy from reality. For the brain, what you visualized in this state is already a done deal. You are literally stamping success into your neural foundation while the concrete is still wet. This creates a neural groove. During the day, your brain will automatically align your actions with this reality. You will begin to notice opportunities and loopholes that were previously hidden behind social noise. In the United States, they call this self-programming. Successful traders and athletes use this method to maintain ice-cold composure during moments of crisis. While the average person wakes up in a panic from notifications, you wake up with a ready-made architecture of victory. Your competitors haven't even brushed their teeth, and you have already lived out your triumph inside your head. When you do this daily, your brain gets used to the fact that orders come from within. You break the habit of being a follower. Machiavelli emphasized that fortune is a woman, and to keep her, one must use force.
The 3-minute protocol is your way of applying force to fate itself. You don't wait for the day to bring you luck. You program your brain to take it. After these 3 minutes, your gaze changes. You no longer seek approval in the eyes of those around you. Immediately after the protocol, perform one physical action that confirms your will: a cold shower, an entry in your notebook, or a difficult task. You are grounding the installation. The brain receives confirmation: program launched. From this moment on, you are a dangerous player, because your actions are dictated by your own code, not by the manipulations of others. The last 7 minutes before sleep determine what your brain will do all night. Night is the time for archiving. If you fall asleep digesting someone else's argument or resentment, your brain will spend the whole night strengthening those neural connections. You will wake up shattered because your system worked for your enemy all night. Cleanse your input flow 1 hour before bed. Your last look should be directed at your plan, not at a screen.
During sleep, the brain transfers information from short-term memory to long-term memory. This process is called consolidation. The brain does not choose what is important and what is not. It takes what was last and most emotionally charged. If you fall asleep to the voice of a cold empath, or after reading toxic comments, you are literally forcing your neurons to build highways for that pain. How do you prepare your brain for nightly work for you and not against you? 60 minutes before bed, radio silence mode. Put away the smartphone. If you need to study something, use paper. Your brain must cool down from blue light and foreign meanings. You lower your cortisol levels. Your brain enters a waiting mode for your personal commands, not external stimuli. Recall how after an evening argument in a messenger, you wake up with a feeling of heaviness, as if you hadn't slept but had been at war. In the United States, they call this revenge bedtime procrastination, when you steal sleep from yourself to try and regain control over your life through a screen. But it is a trap. You don't gain control, you surrender your last strength to the system. A player falls asleep thinking about their next move, not someone else's attack. Your subconscious is capable of solving the most complex problems while you sleep if you give it the right task. Machiavelli emphasized that a prince must think about war even in times of peace. Before you close your eyes, give your brain one specific problem to solve. Your last look at your list of goals is a technical assignment for your biocomputer for the entire night. In the morning, the answer will come by itself during those very first 7 minutes of the gateway. Your state before bed should be the state of a predator going into their lair to digest prey and gather strength before a new strike. Instead of a screen, a blank sheet of paper, write down 3 main actions for tomorrow.
Let this be the last thing your retina captures. You will wake up with a ready-made algorithm. While your competitors are painfully booting up through social media, you will already be on the march. You didn't just sleep, you programmed your dominance. When you reclaim these windows for yourself, your intuition turns into a radar. You begin to see people's hidden intentions in real time. Why? Because your operating system is no longer overloaded with digital noise. You notice the micro signals of danger that the other 99% of people miss. You see the fake before it is even spoken. Your subconscious processes 11 million bits of information per second, while your conscious mind processes only 40. Intuition is the result of this giant computing machine's work. But when you fill your suggestibility windows with someone else's images, you clog the cache of your biocomputer. By removing the noise, you free up resources for reality analysis. Machiavelli advised the ruler to be a fox to recognize the traps. Your radar is your inner fox, which you have finally allowed to act. How does your new radar work in a crowd or during negotiations? After a week of practicing the 7 minutes, you will notice that when communicating with people, your brain records inconsistencies. A person's voice sounds confident, but the corner of their mouth twitched betrayingly. Their words, "I agree," do not match their closed posture. Since your brain is not busy digesting a morning TikTok, it instantly gives you an alarm signal. You feel a cold or an itch in your stomach. This is the voice of your radar. Most people are so immersed in their smartphones that they don't notice they are being manipulated right to their face. In the United States, they call this situational blindness.
Manipulators, like the mirror manipulator, count on your distraction. But when your radar is calibrated by silence, you see their game in slow motion. Their charm crumbles, exposing naked calculation. When your neuroplasticity works for you, the brain begins to build predictive models. You haven't even entered the office yet, but you already feel the atmosphere inside. You know who will be aggressive today and who will be depressed. Machiavelli emphasized that a true leader sees the approaching storm when the sky is still clear. Silence is your laboratory, where the subconscious assembles the puzzle from hundreds of scattered details without interference. In a world of noise, being quiet means having an advantage. At any important meeting, pause before answering. In that second, your radar, cleaned by the morning protocol, will give you the full lowdown on your interlocutor. You stop reacting to words and start reacting to intentions. Your invulnerability becomes absolute because you see the attack at the very moment of its birth in the enemy's head. A person who owns their morning possesses a different density of presence. Others instinctively feel your internal silence and composure. But when your foundation is laid in the first 7 minutes of silence, you become a psychological monolith. You are no longer predictable to them. Point 1. Biological space seizure. Your state is broadcast to those around you via mirror neurons. Most people live in a state of low-frequency noise. Their brains are constantly scanning the environment for approval or threats. When you enter a room with an absolutely clean subconscious, you create a high-pressure zone. People subconsciously begin to align their heart rate and breathing with your calm. Machiavelli knew, he who is unperturbed dictates the rules of the game. Your silence is not passivity, it is a radiation of power that forces the chaos of others to quiet down. Point 2. The shadow's impenetrable armor. Manipulators work on the hook principle. They cast bait, resentment, flattery, or fear, and wait for you to flinch. But your 7 minutes in the morning were a time of integration with your shadow. You have already met your demons in the silence and reached an agreement with them. Now, when a cold empath tries to press on your weakness, they find no grip. Your surface is perfectly smooth. You become psychologically invisible to their attacks. They strike, but their blows pass right through you because there is no resonance inside. How do you make a manipulator feel discomfort? In the moment of attack, imagine you are still in those very same 7 minutes of morning silence.
Look at your interlocutor not as a threat, but as an object of study, like a biologist looking at an insect under glass. The other person will feel that their significance to you is zero. This breaks their hierarchical worldview. In the United States, they call this the unfazed mindset, a state where it is impossible to knock you off balance. Machiavelli emphasized that power abhors a vacuum. Most people fear silence and fill it with chatter. Your ability to remain silent and maintain your presence creates a vacuum that others strive to fill with excuses or concessions. The one who can endure silence in a room the longest is the true leader. Your morning protocol trains your brain not to fear this void, but to own it. Your presence is your primary capital. Never start speaking the moment you enter a room. Pause. Feel your density. Give those around you time to sense your internal silence. By the time you speak your first word, it will carry the weight of law. You are no longer fighting for attention. You are confiscating it. Your neuroplasticity has created a new role for you, the role of the person who defines reality instead of adapting to it. Most people live their lives without ever truly waking up. They are programmed by advertisements, politicians, and toxic environments during their moments of maximum vulnerability. They call this attention slavery. It is a voluntary lease of your fate. Your refusal to pick up the phone in the morning is the first act of your personal revolution. It is the moment you stop being a resource. Your attention is the most expensive oil of the 21st century. Tech giants spend billions of dollars to hack your reward system, specifically during those 7 minutes when you are most defenseless. Every like, every headline is a micro-injection that forces your brain to work for someone else's capitalization. Machiavelli knew a people accustomed to slavery will seek out their own master. If you do not assign yourself a goal in the morning, the algorithm will assign one for you. You become a battery in the consumption matrix, surrendering your psychic energy in exchange for the cheap flicker of a screen. The price of error is not just one ruined day, it is the cumulative effect of neural degradation. When you spend years starting your morning with foreign content, your capacity for independent thought atrophies. You turn into an echo of other people's opinions. In psychology, this is called learned helplessness. You feel like life happens to you, rather than you creating it. You lose your status as a subject. You turn from a player into a gear in a machine, used and discarded once your resource of attention is exhausted. How do you realize the depth of your slavery? Try not picking up your phone for the first 30 minutes tomorrow.
If you feel panic, an itch, or irritation, congratulations, you are on a leash. These are withdrawal symptoms. Your brain no longer belongs to you, it belongs to the dealer in your pocket. This realization should trigger rage within you. Machiavelli emphasized that rage is the fuel for those who want to reclaim their throne. Use this anger to break the neural chain of addiction. In a world of attention slavery, people devour each other's time. When you watch someone else's life in the morning, you waste your neural resources living a fragment of their experience instead of your own. You eat your own opportunities just to digest someone else's success. A strong person is the one who produces meaning. A weak person is the one who consumes it. During the windows of suggestibility, you are obligated to be the creator of your own reality, or you will become fuel for someone else's. Your refusal of morning noise is a quiet rebellion that yields loud results. Look at every declined notification as a conquered centimeter of your territory. Every morning without a phone is a fortification of your boundaries. Within 1 month, your will become hard as granite. You will begin to notice how easily you manage those who still wear the color of likes. You are a free man in a world of attention slaves, and that makes you an absolutely dominant force. Biologically, we are programmed to adapt to the group's opinion to survive. Suggestibility windows are the time when this social glue is applied to your psyche. Point 1. Neural conformity. Your brain fears exile from the tribe more than death. In the theta state, this fear operates at full capacity. Social networks are an imitation of the tribe.
When you scroll through your feed in the morning, you are unconsciously searching for markers of group approval. Your brain whispers, "Do as they do, think as they do, or you won't survive." This is how the social glue is applied, a layer of foreign beliefs that makes you indistinguishable from the mass. Machiavelli emphasized, most people act as if they have no will of their own. Using social media during suggestibility windows strips you of your individuality on a biological level. Point 2. Solitude as a chemical separator. When you choose silence during these critical 14 minutes, you are committing an act of neurochemical desertion. Without external signals of correct behavior, your brain is forced to turn to internal resources. You begin to generate your own meanings. At this moment, the social glue does not set on your skin. You remain slippery to the manipulations of the crowd. You become that very sovereign who stands above the group, not within it. How to solidify your autonomy from the group. In those 7 minutes of silence, intentionally imagine a scenario where you go against the general opinion and win. Feel the taste of that resistance. You are training your neurons not to fear social isolation. This creates immunity to gaslighting and public shaming. You no longer fear being wrong in the eyes of the herd. In the United States, they call this groupthink reinforcement. Algorithms show you what you like to make you feel like you belong. It's a trap. In the windows of suggestibility, this trap snaps shut forever. You lose the ability to see alternatives. But the one who clears their brain with silence sees the entire battlefield, not just the part the tribe permitted them to see. Machiavelli knew, to lead people, you must be different from them.
You must have what they lack, internal support. If you consume the same content at the same hours as millions of others, you cannot be a leader. You are just another unit in the statistics. The bottom line, your distance from the social glue is the measure of your power. The less you depend on the herd's approval, the more the herd will need your leadership. Your morning is the border between I and we. Make it your pride that you do not know what is trending today until you have completed your main task of the day. Your decisions will become frighteningly independent. While others consult with the majority opinion, you will act based on your own internal logic. This makes you unpredictable and dangerous to the system. For the protocol to work, you must take 3 steps. These are not recommendations, they are the conditions for access to controlling your own reality. In Machiavelli's world, an intention not backed by action is a sign of weakness. Your brain must receive a signal. The games are over. The architecture of power has begun. First,
The smartphone spends the night in another room. This is your physical barrier and your first act of dominance over addiction. Distance creates room for maneuver. When your phone lies next to your bed, your limbic system wins before you even wake up. By moving it to another room, you are setting up the boundary posts of your mental territory. This is your demilitarized zone, where no manipulator has access. If you cannot control the location of a piece of plastic, you will not be able to control the course of history. Second, subscribe. This is your oath of allegiance to the truth. Here, at the Dark Psychology Lab, we don't tell fairy tales about positive thinking.
We study the anatomy of power, control mechanisms, and the biology of charisma. Subscribing is your daily filter that will displace social trash and replace it with the tools of influence. Surround yourself with meanings that make you stronger. Your feed should be your arsenal, not the graveyard of your time. Third, like this video. This is your signature on a contract with yourself. In psychology, this is called kinesthetic anchoring. By clicking the button, you translate an abstract thought into a physical gesture. You confirm your readiness to take power into your own hands and exit the cast of the suggestible. This is your first digital manifesto. By liking, you signal to your subconscious, I choose this path, I accept these rules. Machiavelli emphasized the importance of rituals in strengthening power. These 3 steps are your personal ritual of initiation. Most will watch this video and forget it within 5 minutes, returning to their dopamine hibernation. But the few who fulfill these conditions will trigger a process of irreversible neural restructuring. You either build the system, or the system builds you. There is no third option. Your actions today determine your capacity tomorrow. Take these 3 steps right now. Do not wait for Monday or a new month. Power is not taken tomorrow, it is taken in the now. You will feel an instant surge of energy from the fact that you have finally made a decision. You are no longer a resource for the platform. You are a subject using the platform for your own tempering. Your assignment for tomorrow, 7 minutes of silence after waking.
Not a single glance at the screen. Just listen to your thoughts. Your shadow will point you to the right path as soon as you stop drowning it out with the voices of others. Write in the comments, "My mind is my fortress," if you have accepted the protocol. Your time has started. The masks are off. Act. Point 1. The detox of consciousness. The first minutes without your phone will feel unbearable. Your brain, trained for short bursts of dopamine, will begin to panic. This isn't just boredom, it is detoxification. In this moment, you will see how deep the system has sunk its tentacles into you. If you cannot endure 7 minutes alone with yourself, then you as a personality no longer exist. There is only a biological vessel for someone else's content. Standing firm in this silence means performing an act of deoccupying your own mind. Machiavelli knew victory over oneself is the most difficult and important of all victories. These 7 minutes are your personal proving ground, where you prove who is the master of the house. Point 2. Audience with the shadow. When you switch off the external noise, your shadow emerges from the basements of your subconscious. It will not flatter you. It will tell you the truth about your missed opportunities, your true appetites, and those who manipulate you. Most people run to their phones specifically to avoid hearing this voice.
But a strong person knows, in this voice lies the key to their true power. Your shadow is your most honest analyst. The bottom line? A true strategist draws plans from the internal abyss, not from a news feed. Listen to your rage and your ambitions while they are still hot. Why is the comment necessary? It's not just activity for the algorithm, it is your digital seal. In psychology, public commitment is the most powerful tool for locking in your will. By writing, "My mind is my fortress," you create an external witness factor. Tomorrow morning, when your hand reaches for your smartphone, your memory will throw this comment back at you as a reminder of your betrayal. You are either a person of your word or a unit of statistical error. Your comment is your place in the ranks of those who have chosen awareness. Machiavelli emphasized that power always belongs to the minority that possesses self-control. In a world where 99% of the population wakes up and falls asleep in digital slavery, your 7 minutes of silence make you an evolutionary exception. You voluntarily enter the caste of those who see the structure of reality rather than its decorations. Your choice today determines your position in the food chain tomorrow. You are either the one who eats or the one being eaten through a screen. Tomorrow morning, the world will try to drag you back. Your phone will be lying there like a loaded syringe. Immediately after waking, sit up. Do not check the time. Do not look at notifications. Feel the silence fill your skull, displacing the social trash. After 7 minutes, you will stand up with the feeling of a steel rod inside you. You will see right through people because you have just seen right through yourself. Your gaze will become heavy and your actions inevitable. Your time has started. The masks are off. Act. Point 1. The detox of consciousness. The first minutes without your phone will feel unbearable.